We're done, Kyle texted. Get your stuff from the storage unit. I stared at my phone, the screen's cold glow highlighting the exhaustion on my face in the dim hallway of my apartment building. Well, what used to be my apartment. The unfamiliar lock on the door gleamed under the flickering overhead light, as foreign as the emptiness in Kyle's words. My name is Samantha Delaney. I'm 47 years old, and I just spent 10 straight days dozing on waiting room chairs, while my sister Vanessa recovered from emergency surgery. 10 days of stale sandwiches and vending machine coffee. 10 days away from the man I thought was my partner of 15 years. Apparently, that was all it took for him to decide our marriage was disposable. I sank to the floor, my knees giving out beneath me. The hallway's motion sensor light buzzed overhead, throwing erratic shadows across the walls. My fingers trembled as I scrolled through the rest of Kyle's messages. I've moved your stuff to Unit 23B at Westside Storage. Keys under the mat. I pawned your jewelry, wasn't worth much anyway. Sold the Toyota, you never drove it. My grandmother's antique locket, my wedding ring. The pearl earrings he gave me on our 10th anniversary. Gone. The car I saved for on a teacher's salary, the only thing I bought just for me. Sold behind my back. I placed my hand on the door that once opened into the world we built together. Shared lesson plans, quiet weekends in Tahoe, nights grading papers on the couch. 15 years of shared history, now sealed behind metal and silence. The numbness inside me thickened into something solid and sharp. There in that hallway in Reno, Nevada, I made a decision. I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't cry or call him 100 times or show up begging outside his door. I wouldn't give him that satisfaction. Instead, I typed one sentence, "You'll regret this." And then I blocked his number. I found the key where he said it would be and called a cab across town. Unit 23B was dusty and small, filled with a few beat-up boxes and sagging garbage bags, my clothes, some kitchen stuff, a few books. 15 years of marriage crammed into less than 100 cubic feet of disregard. That night, I checked into a cheap motel near the hospital so I could visit Vanessa the next morning. Lying on the scratchy bedspread, staring at ceiling stains, I realized something strange. I had nothing left to lose. And somehow, that felt freeing. I never imagined restarting my life at 47, but here I was. Life has a way of gut-punching you with surprises. Some are blessings, some are knives. Kyle and I met 20 years ago at a teachers' conference in Sacramento. He taught PE, I taught art. We bonded over budget cuts and clueless administrators. He was thoughtful then, the guy who knew every birthday and brought my coffee just right. He helped hang my students' artwork, left notes in my desk, made me feel seen. He was the last person I ever thought would betray me. Our marriage wasn't perfect. Whose is? Things changed when he didn't get the athletic director job. He grew distant, practically lived at the gym. I mentioned counseling, but he shrugged it off. Then Vanessa's appendix ruptured. I had to be there for her. She has no one else. I thought Kyle would understand. I thought 15 years meant something. The morning after I found myself locked out, I sat beside Vanessa's hospital bed and told her everything, trying not to shake. "That absolute bastard," she whispered, her face still drawn from surgery. "I'll kill him." "No," I replied, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. "You just need to heal. I'll handle the rest." "Where will you go? What will you do?" The machines beside her beeped faster. I took her hand, feeling oddly like the strong one, even as my own world had crumbled. "I've got some savings. Not much, but enough for a small apartment. And I've been eyeing that arts administration program at the university. Maybe it's time?" "Sam," she said, my childhood nickname. "You don't have to act strong with me. It's okay to fall apart." I looked toward the mountains beyond the hospital window, their snowy peaks catching the early sun. I'm not pretending. I'm just done wasting time on someone who threw us away so easily. Later that day, I found a tiny studio apartment I could afford on my salary, close to the school, just enough space for me and what was left of my life. While unpacking, I found something Kyle hadn't tossed, my external hard drive with my digital art portfolio. 3 months after he changed the locks, the divorce papers arrived in the mail. Reason: irreconcilable differences. I almost laughed. That legal phrase didn't quite capture the devastation of being locked out, erased, and discarded. The paperwork listed our shared assets. He claimed everything. The apartment, the furniture, even half my retirement fund. His lawyer argued that since I abandoned the marriage to care for my sick sister, I deserved nothing. I sat at my new kitchen table, the pages blurring. For a moment, I wanted to call him to scream. Then a buzz, an email from the university. I'd been accepted with a partial scholarship. Classes started in 6 weeks. It felt like more than news. It felt like a door. I could have fought him in court, spent months clawing back every cent. Or I could start fresh, invest that energy in rebuilding. I signed the papers without contesting his claims, despite my lawyer's protests. He's taking everything, the attorney warned. You're entitled to more. I know what I'm entitled to, I said. I'll get it back another way. That night, I called my principal and gave my resignation, effective end of semester. 20 years in public schools ended with a 10-minute phone call. A twinge of sadness hit me, for the students, for the memories. But I couldn't stay. I couldn't keep running into Kyle in the halls, pretending I was okay. I needed space to breathe again. When I told Vanessa, she frowned. You're letting him win, she said. That school was yours before it was his. That's the problem, I told her. Everything in Reno feels tainted now. The school, the grocery store, even the park we walked in every Sunday. I need a clean start. And then what? She asked. You'll get the degree. Then what? I pulled out my hard drive and showed her the art I'd been quietly working on for years. Animations, illustrations, interactive media. I told her about the art therapy programs I'd researched, projects using digital art to help trauma survivors. With my teaching experience and the new degree, I could build something like that. Vanessa looked through the images, her expression softening. This is beautiful, Sam, but programs like that take time. You need income. I've applied for a night shift at the campus library, I said. With the scholarship and a little savings, I'll get by. I need something that's just mine, Van. Something no one can take. That night, as I left her place, the winter sky blushing over the mountains, I felt something bloom quietly inside me. A flicker of hope. Not rage, not despair. Hope. For the first time in months, I was building something new. My days took on a rhythm. Classes in the morning, library work at night, portfolio work in between. I was exhausted, but there was a strange peace in the routine. I barely thought of Kyle anymore, or, often 5 deep breaths, Vanessa had texted earlier that morning, followed by 3 heart emojis and a gif of Oprah saying, "This is your moment." I smiled faintly at the memory, letting the energy of her faith in me carry me through. The stage lights felt impossibly bright when I stepped onto the set. The host, a perfectly coiffed woman named Marissa Gale, greeted me with a warm handshake and a practiced smile. "We're so glad to have you here," she said, then leaned in just slightly. "Your story is incredible." I swallowed hard, nodding. "Thank you for having me." The countdown began, cameras rolled, and suddenly I was live, beamed into living rooms across the country. Today on Innovations in Mental Health, we're speaking with Samantha Delaney, the creator of Canvas, a groundbreaking digital art therapy platform that's helping people process grief, illness, and emotional upheaval through creative expression. Marissa turned to me. "Samantha, welcome." I smiled. "Thank you, Marissa. It's wonderful to be here." As the interview unfolded, I spoke with growing ease. I talked about my inspiration, about turning pain into purpose, about the early days in that small office with just a desk and a vision. I spoke about the people who'd use Canvas, their resilience, their vulnerability, and the healing that came not from erasing their pain, but from giving it a shape, a color, a voice. "We hear you've recently launched a community version," Marissa said toward the end. "Can you tell us more?" "Yes," I said, sitting straighter. "We've partnered with several nonprofits to offer Canvas in group settings, women's shelters, hospice centers, even veteran recovery programs. We're hoping to expand access even more in the next year." The segment ended with applause, a handshake, and a promise from Marissa to keep an eye on Canvas. This is just the beginning. Back in the green room, I exhaled deeply, letting my shoulders drop. I didn't cry, though I felt like I might. Not out of sadness, out of something else. Something lighter. The next morning, our website traffic spiked. Hundreds of emails poured in. Questions, thank yous, stories. A woman from Ohio who'd just lost her sister wrote, "I feel like Canvas is what I didn't know I needed." A therapist in Oregon asked about using the program with her clients. A retired art teacher in Texas wanted to volunteer. I didn't check my blocked messages. I didn't revisit that call. Because I knew now, with crystalline clarity, healing isn't a clean break or a perfect arc. It's a mosaic of moments, some quiet, some painful, and some, like this one, bright with meaning. And as I sat at my tiny desk, Reading each message one by one, I understood something vital. What I'd lost had created the space for everything I was building now, and I wasn't done yet. "You'll be great," the makeup artist said, dusting on a final layer of powder. "Just look at Jessica, not the camera." Jessica Chen was known for thoughtful interviews, but I still rehearsed my talking points about Canvas. I didn't expect her first question. "Samantha, Canvas was born from your personal experience with loss. Can you tell us about that?" I froze. None of our prep had touched on my past, but looking into her kind eyes, I realized this was my moment to connect. 2 years ago, I began, I came home to find the locks changed. My husband had ended our 15-year marriage by text, sold my car, and pawned my jewelry. Jessica listened intently as I described my crash, the late nights in grad school, and how Canvas grew from the rubble. "Canvas isn't just about grief," I said. "It's about reclaiming your story." The segment flew by. We talked science, shared testimonials, and teased upcoming plans. By the time I returned to the green room, my inbox was exploding. The website had crashed. Interview requests poured in, along with one unexpected message. Subject: "I saw you on TV." It was from Kyle. My finger hovered over delete, but I opened it. He was turning himself in. Said he didn't expect forgiveness, only wanted me to know he was sorry. I didn't reply. His closure wasn't mine to give. I had a company to run. 2 years later, I stood in a New York ballroom accepting a national award for mental health innovation. Canvas had offices, partners, and over 1.5 million users. In the audience was James, my partner, beaming with pride. "My life fell apart," I told the crowd, "and creativity helped me rebuild." Canvas is for anyone trying to turn their pain into something beautiful. And then I saw him, Kyle, standing in the back, thinner, older, watching. I didn't flinch. I didn't stop. I finished my speech to a standing ovation. Later, an event coordinator approached. "Someone wants to speak with you. Says it's important." I already knew who. Kyle sat in the lobby in a worn suit. "Congratulations," he said. "I read about the award." "How did you get in?" I said I was with one of your partners. He gave a half smile. "I've been following your success." "I served 14 months, he added. "Working construction now. Honest work." "I'm glad," I said truthfully. But I felt nothing. Not anger, not pity, just neutrality. "I threw away so much," he murmured. "I could have been part of this." "No," I replied gently. "You couldn't have. This only happened because you left." He looked stunned. Then he nodded. "You're happy?" I looked back toward the ballroom, toward James, the applause, the life I'd rebuilt. "Yes," I said. "I am." As I walked away, he called out, "You were right. I regret it every day." I nodded once, then returned to the life that was finally fully mine. Because sometimes the best revenge is simply being seen by the one who lost you, thriving.